Why do different regions specialize in producing different goods? The Midwest grows soy and corn, while Silicon Valley dominates the technology industry and the Gulf states produce oil. Economists use a simple concept to explain this called comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is about producing something at the lowest possible opportunity cost, which is defined as the lowest possible value of the next best alternative, or the thing that you're giving up by doing something. So even if one place is really good at producing everything, different regions can specialize in what they produce most efficiently. Geography plays a big role in these efficiencies. Different regions have different factor endowments, which are the inputs that are native to specific regions, like land, labor, and capital. For example, the Midwest has flat, fertile land and a climate suitable for large-scale agriculture. That means that the opportunity cost for growing soybeans and corn is low. There isn't really anything better we could be doing with the land. The Pacific Northwest has abundant hydropower and dense forests, making it easier to produce timber and paper products there. The Gulf Coast has oil fields, deep water ports, and infrastructure for refining oil, so we refine it there. Because these factor endowments differ from place to place, different places specialize and produce in different things. Another critical factor is transportation cost. Even if two regions can produce a good with the same efficiency, they may have different ways of getting that product to the market that they're intended for. For example, a product that is cheap to produce but expensive to transport, like fresh fruit, will likely be produced and consumed near the same region because of the high transportation costs. This is related to the idea behind tariffs. If products from overseas are more expensive because of tariffs, consumers locally will buy domestic goods instead of international goods. Once a region starts to specialize, firms in the area start to cluster together in what economists call agglomeration economies. You can check out my last video for more on this topic, but these are the advantages a firm receives from being physically around other firms in a megaregion. When companies cluster together, they share suppliers, they share the same labor market, and they also create so-called knowledge spillovers. Knowledge spillovers are the unintended effects of being near other firms. Ideas and knowledge spreads between them, which could lead to competition. Silicon Valley is a classic example of this. Early semiconductor companies started developing in the area because of military research contracts and Stanford University. The initial clustering attracted engineers, which attracted startups for those engineers, which then attracted venture capital firms to buy startups. Similar events occurred in Houston with petrochemicals, Detroit with automobile production, and Hollywood with film production. Agglomeration amplifies the initial geographical advantage of a region, but it can also lead to regions getting stuck in an economic industry for decades. This is especially a problem in Rust Belt cities like Detroit, where NAFTA and free trade took jobs away from the Rust Belt before they were able to successfully diversify. These jobs left because companies decided to outsource their labor to other parts of the world, because low tariffs meant that they didn't have to pay additional costs for producing outside of the US. Understanding competitive advantage matters for a variety of reasons. First, it makes us aware of why different areas prosper in different fields, and why companies can't just get started in random parts of the world with poor geographies and institutional backing for their industry. It also explains why trade is so beneficial. When regions or countries produce specific items and trade for each other, they all benefit by the improved efficiency. Finally, knowing comparative advantage can help in your AP Micro class. I hope you learned something. If you're interested in spatial economics or economic geography and want to learn more, please subscribe to my channel. Bye!